I'm gonna read from something that I prepared, and I'm really nervous, but I really want to thank everybody that's here today to protect an area that is extremely sacred and special to my people, my ancestors, and this whole Central Coast region. It's quite significant. The cultural heritage up there, the flora, the fauna. It goes without saying. It's just such a beautiful, sacred, special area. Yeah. And it doesn't deserve homes. No. It does not deserve homes. So as Indigenous people, we believe in the idea, the thought of reincarnation. Okay, when we pass, we go to Sky Father and we're reincarnated to Earth Mother, and that is as plant or animal. So we're Nulai, we're Mukra, we're Badagarung, we're Karawal. They're our ancestors. Our animals, our plants, our trees. And they're all around us. All Guringai ancestors. This is our country. But we're here today to talk some truth. And we're here to talk some truth about the new kids on the block. Because my people have been walking this land for 60,000 years. But the new kids on the block have been here for 40 years. Dark and Junk Proprietary Limited. 40 years they've been here. They don't have any elders. They're not people. They don't have land. They don't have language. They're a land council. They're a land developer. Pushed by the government. And it's a great little gig they've got going too. The Liberal government feed them Crown land to rezone and give back to them and sell. Make money, develop. It's a rich man's game. $30 million in assets. And all we want to do is protect it. Protect it for our children. Protect it for us. That's what it's all about. And there's that opportunity for development, responsible development. But why develop over protected land, over an Aboriginal area? Cultural heritage, that land, that footprint of development is riddled with cultural heritage. And all around it is cultural heritage. All AHIMS registered, PROS registered sites as well. And there are more.
Greed, unnecessary greed.
For an Aboriginal organisation to develop our country in the name of greed and profit is not in the foundations of our culture. It's not what our culture was developed on for 60,000 years. We are protectors of our culture. We are not developers of our culture, of our land, of our country. We are protectors of it. We are obliged from generation to generation to generation to protect, respect and care for our country.
Don't forget the entrance.
But they're part of a bigger plan, as I've already spoken about. Our state government handing them land. They get a free run. There's no red tape. There's no council approval. There's actually no hurdles that any other development company in this state has to go through. None. It's a free ride. It's a free ride. Just get it done. We take the council out of it, go straight to the state government. They approve it all. It's a rort. An absolute rort. Dominic Perrottet. You've introduced cashless gaming to get rid of cash laundering in your casinos. What are you going to do about your government laundering land through Aboriginal land councils? So I just want to touch on a media release that was released last night. And just excuse me while I find this here.
No, I don't think we should.
Dark and Jung consultations on Kariong development make good progress. And if you just pan the cameras around, let's have a look how great that progress is. Look at the support to stop that development.
Good.
They can't even get this many people to a board meeting. It goes on and on and on. It just goes on and on and on. But I really would like to just touch on one thing about the Kariong Progress Association. There was a meeting held up there with Darkinjung Land Council CEO, chairperson, and one of the other board members. And this letter goes on to say how they've got an emotional attachment to the sites and they're working well with Kariong Progress Association. That meeting was illegally videoed without the permission of anybody at that meeting. None of the Kariong Progress Association were informed of the illegal videoing of that meeting. Not the traditional custodians that were there. It was videoed and live streamed without us knowing. Now, how can that be in the best interest of the Kariong Progress Association? How can that be in the best interest of the Kariong community? I'm from the Central Coast, Kariong country. Now we just want to jump over to our Labor Shadow Aboriginal Affairs Minister, David Harris, who's a colleague of Liesl. And I've got a letter here stating from David that he cannot listen to us because we are not Darkinjung or Barang. Now we need to make it absolutely clear that with a membership of 700 and a population of 16,000 Aboriginal people on the Central Coast, Darkinjung represent less than 5% of the Aboriginal people here on the Central Coast. David Harris will only represent 5% of the Aboriginal people here on the Central Coast. What are the other 95% going to do? Who do we turn to? We're not recognised because we don't want to be members of Darkinjung Land Council. We are not developers. We care for country. And David's just released his framework for treaty for New South Wales, if they get voted in. And I highly recommend that you do not vote for David because, as I've said, 95% of Aboriginal people on the coast will not be represented by our Aboriginal Affairs Minister, if that happens. Only the people with the money, with the development plans, they will be represented by David. So here's framework for treaty. I'm not sure who that's for, because majority of the country, treaty wants to happen with traditional owners. But if David's only listening to Darkinjung, who's he want a treaty with? A fake people? An artificial Aboriginal people? People that don't have culture, laws, songlines, bloodlines, elders? And I just want to touch again on our people, the Kariong, because there's a lot of conjecture going around in the community. On the 13th of June 2013, our people successfully, and I'll say this again, successfully passed the rigorous test for native title registration. Yeah. Okay? So 10 years ago today. And that's not an easy task. That is no easy task. Okay? It took a year of being followed around, proving who we were, where we come from, and that our connections remain since prior to colonisation. We proved that, and we were successful. And if you go to the justice that sat in that meeting, we had a lot more evidence than any other native title holder in this state. But they still would not give it to us. We withdrew our application for native title because of the fight. Because of the funding, and yes, there's conjecture about the funding. Now, if we go to the funding, there's no funding left. The government's asking mining companies, pastoral companies to step up and help with the funding of native title. Because down the track, they're going to be able to get themselves back in onto that land and have a piece of it. But the funding's all exhausted. It's all exhausted by who? Who do you think exhausts all the funding for